What's up, my dudes, and welcome back to another video here on Cyclone Games. Today we're going to dive right into a week full of video game news, and to start things off, let's talk about this mom who bought this knockoff video game console from a kiosk and then decided to complain about the content that was on it.
Yeah, so this lady just bought a knockoff Super Nintendo Mini with 100 some odd games in it, thinking it was a good idea.
No, there's 821.
Oh, even worse. But anyways, her train of thought was, I'm gonna get this game, I'm gonna school my kid in Super Mario, and then she opened it up, found this old school like 1990s, 1980s game called MC Kids or Mick Kids, something like that. I don't know. I wasn't there. But anyways, it started to proceed with the kids hiding out in a tent with no clothes on, and then Ronald McDonald chasing them with his chicken McNugget out.
Apparently, whenever they got this for Christmas, no one told them that whenever you buy something that's knockoff from a kiosk, sometimes there can be, you know, let's just say some interesting things that they sell from these kiosks. And let's be honest, you're not going to find the mall manager doesn't care about what you got from a kiosk. That person's gone and they've closed down that kiosk.
This lady would have had more luck getting that Soldier game console that was basically a $200 knockoff of a $100 Chinese knockoff console.
It was a knockoff of a knockoff.
It was a knockoff of a knockoff.
It's a knockoff inception.
Yeah, crank that knockoff.
So the biggest issue we have with this, though, is spend $10 more and you get the actual thing where you can actually school your child in Mario and prove exactly what the issue was, you know, in the 90s whenever you were out there and you were trying to prove yourself on the playground.
Yeah, because for me the hardest part was trying to make that jump and not lose Yoshi instead of Ronald McDonald chasing me with his chicken McNugget out.
Yeah, I don't know how I'd feel about that, I'll be honest with you. I think that I would actually have fallen off the cliff on purpose.
Definitely, that's just a scary image, thinking Ronald McDonald chasing you.
So she went to the news for this, and all of a sudden decided, you know, let's do a full story on this. They actually did a full expose on this issue, which I find, I'm not gonna lie, I find this hilarious. So she's over here talking about how it makes her angry, and you know, the more she thought about it, the more upset it made her. But come on, you got to be honest. This is one of those things that common sense needs to be present, specifically in the parent.
I mean, I'm just kind of curious on how she found that one game that had the one thing hanging out of the 800 plus games.
You know, that's exactly what I'm talking about. It's like, you know, she was scanning through this and saw a game that was called
D Kids.
D Kids. That's what's called D Kids.
D Kids.
And it was like, I bet this is very, let's say, educational for her 12-year-old. So let's put this on real quick and let's see what this game's about.
This game was not about a kid named Richard, by the way.
So, and the thing is like they ended this whole expose talking about how she just wants everyone to know about how these quote-unquote innocent-looking video game consoles, and hopefully they can start realizing what they could have on their shelves. I think all of us, except for this one lady, knew exactly what was gonna happen whenever you turned on a knockoff console.
Moral of the story, kids, don't buy the knockoffs. They're really not worth it.
So moving on to our next one, we've got to dive right into this news coming out of Amazon. It seems like they're actually going to be looking to enter the video game market.
Yeah, with Amazon having so much power, they've had, I mean, come on, the guys have a lot of money. They can do whatever they want. With Amazon Prime being a big thing, everybody's using it. They took over Whole Foods. And Amazon Web Services has been taking over a lot of businesses, or at least helping a lot of businesses come. So it doesn't surprise me that they're actually going to try to enter the video game market. Now, it seems like they're trying to enter into the streaming games section in order to eliminate the use for CDs and probably consoles altogether.
One interesting thing that's coming out of this is that instead of it's essentially going to actually eliminate the need for a console, which is really interesting when you think about it, because what they're really looking to do was basically run all these games off of a very powerful computer, or just multiple computers that are actually housed at various data centers around the world, close to you, just kind of depending on where you're at, would be depending on where you would draw this data from.
Yeah, so these data centers will be able to process all the games and then send them straight to your TV, computer, whatever it is you want. Also, your phone and tablet will be accessible through it. Now, that way it'll also free up a lot of space from your PC, so your CPU won't be overheated, overworked, and it just releases a lot of stress from the PC itself.
One of the things that jumps out to me, and I think is really big, because I hate download times. Download times doesn't matter how fast your internet is. I mean, I have, you know, a very high internet speed, and it always still takes a very long time for any type of download to happen. So one thing that I found very interesting is there will be no need to download updates. Everything's going to be done on the server side through Amazon's cloud. So that's going to give a lot more time for all you gamers out there to play your game more often. You're not going to have to sit here for 10 to, let's be honest, 3 hours waiting for a download to finish, instead of being able to actually play and, you know, continue to progress through the game.
Yeah, 'cause remember Red Dead Redemption 2 was like 92 gigs to download. Like I ate breakfast and took a nap, and then it was done downloading.
And I know people that in the past they can literally go to work and work a 12-hour shift, come home, and their game is still not downloading. Obviously, that's not going to be everybody. We get that, guys. But even just having that knowledge of knowing that download updates won't be necessary is going to be huge.
Now, it hasn't been confirmed if Amazon is going to add this as part of their Prime membership deal, which to be honest, would be great because I don't want to make any additional payments. But they haven't been confirmed whether it's going to be added to Amazon Prime or if it's going to be its own separate entity altogether.
Either way, I feel like this is a great deal. I know there's a lot of streaming sites out there right now, but whenever you can get through and something that's coming through Amazon, who has such a huge base where everything's going to be a little bit easier, it's going to be way more smooth whenever you're talking about just the gameplay actually coming through and the data being processed. I think it'd be really good. It definitely would be something that I know a lot of people would actually pay extra for. So it'd be interesting to see how they really do that pricing.
Now, reportedly, Amazon has been speaking with game publishers in order to distribute various titles. No game publishers have been announced yet. It's just that it's been speculated that they are in the works for it.
I think the biggest thing about this, though, also is like if anyone's gonna be able to do this, it's definitely gonna be Amazon. I mean, the money that these guys bring in, obviously, they passed this year. Actually, I think it was last week. They passed Microsoft for the most expensive or the most profitable company. I think they are over. I know they're over, $500-600 billion now. So that's one of those things. Like they definitely have the backing for this.
Amazon has the technology. They have the money. I mean, if they really wanted to jump into the streaming gaming business, they can definitely do it. So now, moving on for our next story, we have new Breaking Bad game that's going to be actually a mobile game that is set to release later on this year. Now, fans of the series will be happy to know that Walter is back along with Jesse and a few of the other characters from the show, including Gus Fring, Saul Goodman, Mike Ehrmantraut. Y'all know who I'm talking about. I mean, it's basically the main characters of the show. Now, if you've never seen Breaking Bad before, go watch it. It's great. It's on Netflix. Do it.
Actually, important to note that Gilligan himself told the site that there's nothing to worry about. So this game really does have the blessing of the creator of Breaking Bad, which I know for a lot of diehard fans, that's going to be huge for them. I mean, anytime you can get the creator of the original series to sign off on a mobile game, you know it's actually going to be something that you're going to want to pick up and at least play for a little bit out of the time out of your day.
Now, the great thing is it's going to be a mobile game. It is free to play, and it's going to take through and miss the main series, the main timeline of the show. Now, a short promotional clip was shown, but it doesn't show that much. You do get to see Walter White in his pork pie hat, as we all know, as his Heisenberg hat with his alter ego, which is great. It got a lot of fans hyped up. I know I saw it. I got super excited, and I can't wait for this game to come out. It is free to play. Now, although the main focus will be on Walt and Jesse, the game is going to have multiple paths you can take.
So throughout the entire story, it's going to be pretty standard strategy elements, stuff like that. It's actually very, very similar. Well, a lot of people think it's going to be pretty similar to Narcos Cartel Wars, that popular mobile game that came out. It's kind of a spin-off off that Netflix Narcos. They basically task players with running their own drug cartel. It's a lot of people speculate that it's going to be very, very similar to that. One of the big things that I'm going to really appreciate about this game, and I'm excited for, is that players will be met with moral dilemmas and volatile personalities that kind of made that show that Gilligan put out there, the show, Breaking Bad. We all know what we're talking about here. Just such a runaway success. That's also going to be inside of your mobile game, which is going to be huge. I mean, that kind of separates that apart from, you picking up your phone, you open it up an app, and you clicking on it 3 or 4 times before you go, okay, cool, I'm done collecting my, resources for the day, and then closing it out.
Now, no release date has been put out, but it is speculated to release later on in 2019. Now, I'm not much of a mobile gamer or anything myself, but this is probably one I'm going to play. Probably play it more than Pokemon Go.
That's saying something. So CES was this past week, and there's a lot of interesting stuff that actually came out from this event. But we really just want to talk about some of the video game things that jumped out at us, specifically talking about, let's actually just start with talking about how AMD has announced the graphics card wars are back. They actually announced Radeon 7. It's supposed to be a 7 nanometer GPU. It's already making waves throughout the industry whenever you're talking about graphics cards. It's going to be really crazy to see how this affects NVIDIA, all the GeForce cards that are already on the market, as well as the ones, just pricing wise, how that's going to affect the 2080 Ti's, the 2070s, certain things like that.
Now, they did try to mention a little bit about the next gen consoles. I mean, not really bringing up anything. They were just kind of sort of peeking into the future up to what are we to expect. And of course, similar to how Amazon is trying to bring in the streaming service, it seems that that's going to be the next step for the next generation of gaming consoles. So I mean, that might be something we need to brace ourselves for, because the next generation of consoles are coming, and the streaming tech will almost be at the heart of everything. Showcasing this, AMD showed Assassin's Creed Odyssey running smoothly on Google's Project Stream. Now, this game wasn't on any 4K or anything, but it was able to stream in 1080p resolution, and it was extremely smooth. There was no lag, there was no delay, nothing, which is something to say over a streaming service.
Yeah, what's pretty crazy though is, I mean, just talking, whenever they were talking about video game streaming and the video game streaming services that are coming, let's just talk about it as, it's not if, it's definitely when at this point. Obviously, earlier we talked about Amazon jumping into it, and then obviously, like with Google already kind of preparing the way with their Project Stream. It's going to be really, really crazy to see over the next year, 2 years, even 5 years, how video gaming evolves, specifically with all these new consoles that are going to be coming out within probably the next 3 years.
The next generation of PlayStation, the rumored PlayStation 5, and whatever Xbox is going to call the next one, is rumored to be releasing in 2020. That is so far their projected date. So seeing this new streaming services and everything coming out could mean that the next generation of consoles will either completely get rid of your physical discs, or they're prepping for it for the following generation.
So speaking of consoles, something that really, we were actually sitting here talking about was this thing called a Polycade. It's basically a high-end console that is going to be inside of an arcade cabinet, but in a public space. So think of a Raspberry Pi, but something that you can play classic arcade games on, but at a bar, at a restaurant, certain things like that. I know there's certain things like that already on the market, but this is going to be something that's specifically manufactured and sold for public spaces. We were looking at it earlier, and these things are retailing for $3,000 already.
All you 90 babies will remember that N64 used to play with at every McDonald's, which was the best part of going to McDonald's. It's basically the same thing, but the 2019 version.
Yeah, so it's going to be really interesting to see kind of how that works out. I mean, I know whenever they were talking about like nostalgia, it's kind of fallen backwards a little bit. Now, we all know VR has been kind of out for, let's say, a little bit now. I mean, it's been around for a little while. We kind of got the gist of what's going on. But what's really, really different is HTC actually just announced the Vive Pro Eye with eye tracking. What's really, really interesting about this is it's going to give you the ability to navigate menus and play video games using your eyes.
So now this technology is fairly new. If you want to understand the grasp of it, how great this technology is, just how sophisticated eye tracking motion is. Right now, this technology is being used by fighter jet pilots. Think about it, guys. This is the same one where the pilots, all they do, they have that technology built into their helmets. All they have to do is look at an enemy and it automatically aims for them. I mean, this is some precision technology here, and it's now coming into the gaming world.
One of the other things that's kind of coming out, they were talking about these, I think they were calling them Cybershoes. Basically, you strap them onto your feet. They're kind of like snowboard bindings, and they have you roller skates on the spot to move forward. So as weird as that sounds, it's as weird as it sounds. Let's be honest here. I mean, obviously, like in the past, and like as of right now, there's already it's called the 3D rudder, which is already available on PC, but apparently it's about to be coming out for PSVR, which that's going to be pretty amazing whenever it comes out.
See, I'm just hoping all this technology works pretty well, because if you're telling me I can get a workout from playing Call of Duty on VR, I'm in. Also, another thing announced at CES this year was the Alienware M17, which is a 17-inch gaming laptop that's designed to be incredibly thin and light. We've all experienced that with gaming laptops. They're always bulky, and with this new Alienware technology that they're having now, seems like we can take our gaming to go a lot easier and a lot lighter.
Another one they also announced was, it's called the ROG Mothership. It's going to be very, very interesting to see, but they're talking about it basically is going to take a couple different cues from the Microsoft Surface. Basically, its keyboard is going to be detachable. It's going to be able to sit at different angles, all that fun stuff. I mean, it's really designed to save space, but it's also designed to be convenient. So think of it as obviously like the Microsoft Surface, but also think of the Nintendo Switch. You're able to take it anywhere. You're able to play anywhere. That's exactly what Asus is going for with this mothership whenever they come out with it later this year or early into 2020. Well, my dudes, these are some things that really just popped out at us over this past week or so in video game news. Definitely hit us up in the comment section below if there's anything that we missed, or just leave us some comments letting us know what you guys are excited for in the coming weeks that were announced at CES for sure.
So yeah, guys, please make sure to like, like, share, and subscribe to this video. You know, we're going to try to be pushing out weekly video game news whenever we can, and showing some support really means a lot to us.
Yeah, so don't forget to hit that like, share, and subscribe button, and then we'll see you next time here on Cyclone Games. My name's Trey.
And my name is Josh.
And we'll see you next time here at Cyclone Games.